kept going back and forth in my brain, in my mind, about whether to film this now or to go outside and walk around and film it as I usually do. And it's crazy, man. It's crazy how long I'll spend just in my head, just thinking about the right way to do something. And, or even just like before filming, like thinking about what I want to say and like the right, I don't know, like I thought of a funny way to start the video, but then like my mind starts kind of shitting on me for like thinking of something before starting the video. And it's like, oh, like that's so cringe, so whack, like I don't know. But I have a little pup on my leg. So, and he's like a couple months old. He doesn't like being alone. So I figured I'll just record my thoughts while he's chilling there. But today I feel physically better. I've been jet lagged the past half week and generally just really tired and depleted. I didn't film one of these yesterday as I had intended. I had done 3 days in a row and I intended to sort of get a streak going. But I didn't really sleep well because I was taking care of this pup. And I feel like that kind of threw off my whole day. And yesterday ended up being pretty poopy. Or I think in another way, it sort of just set the tone for the day. And it sort of brought out the aspects of my life and like the emotions inside that are shitty. Um, yesterday I lost a friend, a very close friend about a month ago. And I was abroad in Asia, in China when it happened. And um, I've been in touch with like her friends and the people that have been helping, like, I don't know, handle the logistics of all her belongings and all her stuff. And, I had a chat with them, and through that chat, as I went on, I realized like I was feeling kind of guilty. I was feeling guilty for not being around when she passed, and not being around soon after she passed to help with her wishes and her stuff, and like just it's a lot of physical labor. She has a lot of stuff. She was quite the hoarder, I think it's fair to say. Just an absolute, it's like a boat of stuff. It's crazy. And I was feeling a sense of urgency to go up to the city that they're in, up in near San Francisco. I'm near LA, California, USA. And I was considering going up on a train and coming to help for a couple days before the deadline to leave the apartment and hand in the keys. But as I was going through my conversation with them, I kind of realized I realized that one, in the past few days, I've felt kind of avoidant, kind of not wanting to reach out to them, like almost like wanting to procrastinate it, not wanting to reach out to her friends, and like part of me not wanting to go up. And I think what I've realized is there's a part of me that was wanting to go up out of guilt, like out of shame. Like it was a negative drive. Like it was a drive, an emotional drive deriving from negative emotions. Like pushing me to go because I felt I haven't been doing enough. I didn't do enough. I wasn't doing enough for her and for the situation. And I mean, it sucks. Like, I feel like if I didn't talk to them, I wouldn't have realized that. So I'm really glad I chatted with her friends and realized how much of a factor that was. But just through chatting with them, I realized like I would like automatically like feel an urge to, I would think certain things or say certain things or feel certain things, feel a sense of like anxiety, feel that maybe, I don't even know where it comes from, feeling that like the people that were in my past, my friend that passed in her life, feeling that maybe they are judging me or they feel that I'm not doing enough. Like, for example, my friend's parents, I still haven't really talked to them. I was one of the people closest to my friend that passed, and I've felt apprehensive about talking to her parents, and for one, just because it's such a sad and tragic situation. She was their only child, and I mean, she's gone, and I feel like it was just sad all around. They had a very contentious, very conflicting relationship, very turmoiled relationship. And it sounds like they had some reconciliation in those final months to some degree. But it's just an all around sad and shitty situation, and I feel like I certainly I want to go up. I want to find peace in the situation, peace of her passing. I feel like it would be really helpful for me, and like I want to really like acquaint myself with everyone else that knew her, or at least like some of the people that knew her really well. And so in that sense, it was really nice speaking with her caretaker. That's who I was speaking with yesterday, and her husband, her caretaker's husband. And that was really nice. That was fruitful. Um, they're really really a pleasure to speak with, and I'm really glad I spoke with them. Um, I think like in my mind I was a little anxious and feeling that maybe they expect more of me or that they're upset with me. It doesn't really make sense, but I guess the idea is that like I haven't been doing enough, and they're taking responsibility for a lot of like the logistics and taking care of what my past friend had wished, sort of her desires with what to do with her belongings and stuff. And I'm really grateful for the help, and at the same time, I think I feel a little ashamed or guilty for not being able to have helped myself. And feeling like even now I felt like when I was out in Asia, like as soon as she passed, I had wanted to come back. There was no funeral or anything. There was just a memorial, and that was online, so I was able to attend that. Um, and that was, it was all very, very tough time. Probably some of the toughest in my life, and it, a lot of ways, it created a lot of great change. And I mean, a lot of that I've documented. It's on my channel. I talk about it. I've thought about the thoughts, but it was also just extremely sad, and I feel like adding into all that sadness was dealing with the negative ways that dealing with like the negative ways and the critical critical mind, or like critical ways that my mind kind of automatically reacts and approaches a situation. And even something like this where it's like really sad. I mean, this is the first time I've lost someone close to me in my life, and it was really tough, man, especially that first week. Those first couple of days, just horrible, horrible days. That first week, pretty terrible. Um, and it's already bad enough to lose someone, but it's even harder when we kind of blame ourselves, or at least we feel that we should blame ourselves, or that other people blame ourselves. Or maybe even worse, like I'm sure there are cases where people actually blame each other after someone's death. There's a lot of drama and shit when people pass at times, I'm sure. And I mean, it just sucks. Like, I feel like it's hard enough, and I feel like of course, this is just how I feel, and how I feel is different from what I'm going to choose to believe, what I choose to believe. But I'm really glad that I'm realizing these things, realizing these like automatic thoughts and feelings in my mind. Um, but it also sucks, man. It sucks to feel. But I want to feel it. And I feel like, yeah, for a lot of my life, the way I handled emotions was to bottle it up and to avoid feeling them. And I feel like this is still how a lot of people approach emotions. At least here in the U.S., I feel like a lot of my friends seem a little anti-feel, anti-feelings. But it sucks. It sucks to feel, especially it sucks to feel such negative feelings. And at the same time, like, they come from somewhere, and you know I believe that it's the product of everything I've internalized over time. That inner dialogue, and I feel like the inner dialogue is the product of the dialogue I surrounded myself with. I think for myself, that a lot of that in more recent times, a lot of that has come from like social media, and like maybe like I don't know. I fucking kind of have goofed myself because like with like on Instagram or like YouTube, like I would like watch a video or something, and then I'd be like, oh, like so wholesome. Like, let me go look at the comments. Then I kind of keep scrolling and just like see the worst of the worst, and people are just like super critical, super pessimistic, super hateful, or just rage baity, you know? And that's certainly one part of it. Social media, the worst, of course, I've mentioned many times on my channel, but there's no way anyone has watched all my videos. So I'll say again, but I had a really very toxic friend group for a few years that really, I feel like, just fucked up my perception of the world. They were really shitty influences, I feel. I feel that they probably don't realize that, or they don't realize how much of an impact they're making. And, you know, at this point, I'm not in contact with many. I've blocked many. I'm out of the friend group of that greater friend group where there was a lot of toxic people. But the crazy thing to me is like how much their influence still affects me, because this was through like COVID, through quarantine, and it was like a few years of like surrounding myself with this really intense, really negative energy. And I mean, even before COVID, it was like that. It's just we had like lines, we had barriers, or like we had boundaries, right? But like once it was COVID and we're online, like things just went to shit, and we weren't seeing each other in person, so conflict wasn't resolved. It was just building and building and compounding, and it was getting really nasty, really personal. And that kind of just ruined in part, contributed to ruining my perception of human nature, and how people are, seeing how mean and just hateful and negative and pessimistic, and how they treated each other and stuff like that. And I think also compounding that with like social media and like keeping up with like politics and the news and just all these things, just really negative stuff. And that's part of why I moved abroad and wanted to just leave the US. I felt like I just needed a reset. And that's still something um, I guess, in the process of processing. Like, I'm back in the US for the first time in like 4 months, 5 months. And, it's been weird being back. The circumstances suck of being back with my whole friend thing I've been talking about. But, it's bittersweet. Bittersweet. Very sweet in the sense of like seeing family again, seeing friends again, rebuilding those relationships and redefining them, like coming at it in a new way, like as my new self, and just doing my part in the equation, um, and making my friendships a little more along the lines of what I want in a friendship. I feel like um, it's funny because these are probably things that most people just take for granted, or like not take for granted, but like most people just want and expect these same things. But like in a friendship, like I want friends who are like supportive, who are respectful, who build each other up, are constructive, or listen to us. We listen to each other. We try to understand each other. We're mature. We care about each other. We care about the world. I feel like the dynamic in my friend group was, in a lot of ways, just the opposite of all of that. And I certainly don't feel that I'm perfect or that my current friend group is perfect, but I'm really excited about the direction I think we'll be heading in, and I feel like the dynamic has already changed a lot, and sort of in the way I approach these vlogs, or I don't know, documentations. I've kind of I've been able to become the person I want to be And part of that is I want to be someone who can be vulnerable and honest and speak my mind, voice my thoughts, respect myself, set boundaries, all these kind of stuff. And, I feel like doing these videos has really, really helped me do all that and has really changed who I am for the better, in a way that I really love and I'm really passionate about and proud of. Like, I finally feel proud of myself again. I feel that I love myself, that I respect myself, um, and that I'm passionate about the person I am. Certainly a lot of more room to go, and that's perfectly fine. There's no need to get anywhere instantly. Outcomes aren't what's going to make us happy. It's the process. Outcomes will never make us happy. Um, and so that's been very positive, and I feel like I've changed a lot, and probably I feel that it's in ways that my friends weren't expecting or didn't really know the extent of which I had changed. But I feel like I've been really much more honest and vulnerable, and just truthful, and like speaking about my experiences and how I experience things and how I feel about things, and bringing up times where I felt hurt, where I felt disrespected and stuff, like in the past. And it's funny because it's like something I wouldn't really do, and it's probably part of why everything compounded and grew into such a huge like negative influence for myself. And like I try to take responsibility, not for like my friends' actions or how they behave, but I believe it's extremely important for us to take responsibility for what we can do in a situation. There's a lot of things, most things that are completely out of our control, but we have a huge capacity to influence, and we have a massive ability to control what we do. A huge, huge portion of control with just in what we do. And, I guess part of what I've been doing these past couple months is just focusing on what I can do. And as I've been back here, I've realized there's certainly a lot I can do in like little ways that probably will make a big difference in my friend group dynamic or just in my relationships and stuff in general. I realize I have a lot of trouble asking for help, asking for support, which I guess in a way makes sense, and it's kind of what's led to this, where I kind of just self like diagnose and like self troubleshoot my mind and my problems and all that stuff. And in a way, I really love that. I really love being self sufficient and like self trusting, self respectful, self knowing. In a lot of ways, like it's intentional. Like I want to be like my own best friend. And there was a point in my life, there was a chapter in my life when I was really happy, actually, one of the happiest chapters of my life, where that was the case. And that's kind of what I've realized over time. Is like, I feel like that's why I was so happy, because I was so much like the person I wanted to be. And it took not being the person I wanted to be at all to realizing what it is that I had back then, and to realizing that I want to be that again, but this time intentionally as a choice. And it sucks in a lot of ways. Like, it's a lonely journey. I feel like a lot of my friends don't relate. I feel like I can't relate, or people can't relate with me. I feel like um, people will judge me or like dissuade me, or sometimes I feel that people do when I do talk about things. But it's tricky, man. Like, I feel like a lot of it has to do with trust. And I guess what I'm realizing in the past few days is like, my friends trust me, they respect me, they want the best for me. And I think most of the times, in most relationships, just in general, from my observations, I feel like when there's conflict in a relationship, most of the time it's not intentional. Like, most people are generally just good people and they're just trying their best. And I think what actually happens is a lot of people don't realize the impact of what they're doing and how they're affecting others. And, like, slowly what ends up happening is they start pulling away. And, like, for example, like, let me let me think about this. I have a couple friends who are dating and they ended up breaking up. I guess, to put it shortly, they're dating for like almost a year. They ended up breaking up, um, and they had these just completely different, like, experiences and understandings of why they broke up and why things didn't work out. And being like their third friend in like the friend group, I had observed their dynamic and I observed each of them on their own. And I came to realize like there was so much that happened that they just had no idea about. Like, they had no idea about the other person's perspective and experience of these situations and like of their relationship. And they're just experiencing the relationship in completely different ways. It was like two different worlds. And this was honestly one of the. This was about a month ago, or no, probably a little more. No, actually, yeah. I think this was like about a month and a week ago, 5 weeks ago. And I was in. This was in China, and I was visiting them. And this was like my first test where I was really proud of myself because of what I did. This was like my first test of like using my voice, and what really helped me realize like, wait, like, I think I'm a very good observer. I'm very good at understanding things and like just listening and like taking that step back and yeah, just observing something. And I feel like that's kind of been what a lot of my life is, observing and understanding, but also missing that last step, which is like having like the courage to like voice what I feel and what I think. And so in a lot of ways, like, I've kind of been realizing like I have this like very like deep and like impactful knowledge about situations, and I've been able to make a huge impact just by voicing like what I've observed. And I think like for a lot of my life I've lived off the assumption that no one wants to hear, that it wouldn't help, that no one wants to hear what I have to say or would listen if I had something to say. And that's part of what this journey has been in documenting my thoughts, and what has been a pleasant surprise is like a bunch of random ass people listen. And, I guess like it's just crazy. Like, I would do the same. I have done the same. I've clicked on like random videos and just seen what random people on the internet have to say. It's interesting. It's a curious thing to do and to hear in on. And so, I've pleasantly been surprised by how many people listen to me, and a lot of people resonate very deeply. And, I've really enjoyed seeing people write such like thoughtful and long like comments, and just going deep into like their own perspective, their own thoughts, their own experiences, and it's been a joy. And it excites me to see what might come of all this and where my channel might go in the future. Um, but it's certainly been nice. And anyways, I think I tangented. What was I saying? Um, oh yeah, like I spoke with each of them about their relationship. They had broken up. I spoke with them each about their relationship, and I helped them realize like just how much of a difference their experience was. And I felt really fulfilled and really rewarded through that experience by chatting with them each. And like they didn't get back together, but I feel like they certainly learned about a lot about themselves and a lot about a better understanding of the relationship and what happened and why it didn't work out and stuff. And it's a relationship, so I feel like at the time I said everything that I felt comfortable with and that I could. Um, but all I can do is excuse me. All I can do is my part. All I can do is my input in the situation, in any situation. A lot of times I feel that we focus on things that are completely out of our control, and literally can't be changed. But yet it's like the focus of like most of our energy, like with anxiety or even like excitement. Um, Dr. K, healthygamer.gg on YouTube, he always talks about like how excitement and anxiety are actually just two sides of the same coin. Um, Equally, like, they have the same function as an emotion, but they're just inverses. And, most people think anxiety is bad, but few people would think excitement's bad. But one is thinking about the past, or one is thinking about what might happen and feeling negatively about it. One is thinking about what might happen and feeling very positively about it. But they're both like thinking about things that haven't happened, things that are in the future, and things that might not happen. And we can't control the future. How we feel is how we feel. It's fine. I think personally that it is what it is. Everything is what it is. It's not. There's no right and wrong inherently. But it's up to us what we want to decide, right? And for myself, I feel like I just want to be intentional, and I want to be making the decisions. And I feel that when our mind has been overrun and over I don't know, I guess like overtaken, not by like ourselves and the things we think and the things we believe and the things we value, but I feel that for many of us, we're running on autopilot, and our minds are run not by ourselves. Our minds are run by society, maybe by our parents, by our family, by our friends, by our toxic relationship, maybe by social media, by the news. I mean, anything, like if we're constantly being stimulated, and I think a lot of us constantly are, then what we're going to take in, what our inner dialogue will kind of absorb. It's like a sponge. What it will absorb is everything external, like what you are encountering, the things people are saying, the way people treat each other, the feelings you have around people, around the world, like whatever. And like for myself, I experienced like when I was around really toxic, pessimistic, like hateful energy and people, like that's who I kind of became over time. And it's up to us. Like we can't control what surrounds us. We can't control the the external the external, I guess, just in general. I can't control how my friends behave or like how I feel around it. But there's a lot that is in my control. I can cut them off. I think ideally, and probably what I would want to do in the future, is to have the strength and the courage to stand up for myself and respect myself and set boundaries for myself and call out behavior that isn't okay, that I feel is not okay. Call out behavior that is toxic, and set boundaries around that. I think part of why it reached a point where I needed to just escape and like block a bunch of people and stuff was because I didn't have the strength or the courage to like voice my thoughts, to respect my own feelings, and to um, I lost my train of thought because I'm petting my puppy. He's a cute. Yeah, I didn't have the respect for myself to do all those things and to stand up for myself. And that's a very important part of that equation of a relationship. And I think certainly what was going on the other end of the equation was really shitty. But I think, I feel that a lot of us, we tend to be reactionary rather than, oh, little puppy. We tend to be reactionary rather than uh, preventative about things. And a perfect example is like with my pup, this little pup here. Like a lot of times, like we tend to get angry once it does something. Like let's say we don't want our dog to piss on the carpet, and then it pisses on the carpet. A lot of times we get upset at the dog and like angry at it and like blah blah blah. Once it pisses on the carpet, but there's a lot we can do to one prevent it from pissing on the carpet, or hey, don't bite me. To prevent it from pissing on the carpet and like be preventative about it rather than like reactionary, so that we don't actually have to get mad. I feel like this is like a principle that I learned as a school teacher that made so much sense, and it's actually such a I feel like it's such a golden nugget of advice. And it's so true. Like a lot of times we go through in life and we do things, we react to things when really like if we were preventative, like, and like proactive about preventing like a certain terrible outcome, like it's so much less energy required. You just have to be a little more intentional and more, I guess, thoughtful about your approach and stuff. But like for example, with like my dog pissing on the carpet, like once I got home, I was like, wait, like, mom, dad, like, of course he's gonna piss on the carpet. Like you have these like they had these like mats for where it can pee, and they had like three of them, like two in like the hallway in the living room, which is carpeted, and they had these two like mats for, I guess, like diaper mats. I don't know, like places for the dog to go pee and poo. But they placed them like on the carpet. Two of them were on the carpet, and one was in the kitchen. And the kitchen is like the ideal spot for it to pee and poo. But the thing is, like, I was telling him, like, I realized, like, this is a freaking dog. This is like a 2-month-old dog. Like, and they were like wanting him to only pee. It was okay for him to pee in the house, but they wanted him to poop outside all the time. And so I kind of was like thinking, like, wait, like, this is a freaking, like, little tiny dog, little pup. Like, one, I don't know if he really distinguishes between, like, peeing and pooping. So, like, there's no way he'll learn at this young of an age that peeing is okay on these mats, but pooping must be done outside. Like, if he needs to go to the bathroom, he needs to go to the bathroom. I don't think he's distinguishing between pee and poo. And the other thing is, like, the placement of the mats. Like, two of them were in the living room on the carpet. So, like, whoa, what the heck? What are you doing, little pup? And so I was like, wait, like, if the two of the three places you want him to poo, he essentially had four places to go to the bathroom. Three mats, two of which were on the carpet, and then one mat in the kitchen, and then one mat, or then outside. And so he was learning about there was four different places where he was allowed to pee and poo. And I was like, I just felt like it would be very confusing to a dog. It doesn't make sense to like get mad at him for not like peeing and pooping in the right place I mean, in his mind, he probably thinks he can pee and poo anywhere. Four different places, three different places in the house and outside. So, I feel like there's a lot we can do to be preventative and to be a little more mindful about our approach. And I feel like I kind of just see this like in general with a lot of people and how they approach situations. Like we tend to get mad once something has happened, rather than like, you know, not get mad and like sort of think about what can we do in a proactive nature, in a preventative nature, to prevent the situation where we get mad. And there's a lot. Ow! There's a lot we can do. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Huh? Say hi to the camera. Say hi. There's a lot we can do to be preventative and not reactionary. Um, and yeah, I think that's been such a great lesson, and it's just so well applied to so many different things. And it kind of goes into this idea of like compounding um, returns or whatever. Like you just need like small, tiny change. And like for example, like I feel like these videos are a great example of what that looks like for myself. Like I've started with just like documenting my thoughts. Like, oh, yo, chill out, dog. Documenting my thoughts like once a day. Oh my gosh, he's going crazy. I'm gonna give him something else to chew on. Let me be preventative rather than reactionary. Eat this. Eat this. You want to bite something? Bite this. Good dog. Good dog. Good puppy. Good puppy. Good. Bite on the toy, not me. Bite on the toy, not me. Good puppy. Good puppy. That's a perfect example too. Oop, you can't really see me. I guess it doesn't matter though. It's a perfect example because like, you know, a lot of times we get angry at the wrong behavior, but we don't give like a correct behavior. And I'm sure like if there's any dog trainers in the chat, I'm sure they probably learn all about this kind of stuff. Drop a comment if you're a dog trainer. Probably not. Probably never will be someone in this comment section that's a dog trainer. Unless I fucking blow up. But it's a perfect example. Like, you know, I've been trying to not just like, it's not just about punishing, but it's about like, one, being preventative, but also like giving an alternative. Like, if my dog is like biting everyone and biting everything, like, I guess ideally, maybe to teach it not to bite, but you also have to understand why does it bite. And, you know, I assume a tiny little pup like this, it's probably normal for them to bite. And certainly one thing we can do is give them something to bite that isn't humans and teach them that it's okay to bite, but bite like a toy. Don't bite humans. And I think it's been working out. I think also it's about being preventative, like stopping him before he starts biting a human, you know? Or just stuff like that, you know, there's a lot of ways in which the principles I mentioned kind of apply. He's cute, man. He's adorable. He's a little punk though. He's a handful. It's really taught me a lot about how difficult it is to like raise a baby, and how difficult it will be to raise a baby if I have children. So respect to all the fathers and mothers and caretakers and people who take care of babies out there, because I've realized it is a lot of work. Getting up every night, being woken up by this little pup, having to take it out to pee, giving it food, stopping him from crying. It's a lot of work. I can only imagine how much more a human baby is to take care of. But yeah, you know, I could probably go on for 2 hours as I have for the past few days. But I keep running into storage issues on my phone. I keep running out of storage, and then I have to like offload all my freaking apps and like freaking start over. Or not start over, but just like upload and then delete like the YouTube app, and then delete like my editor app, and then reinstall one of the apps once I delete the original file, and just all these things, all this mess. I'm also allergic to dogs, so I can't spend too much time in close proximity to a little pup here. But anyways, I think I'll end this one a little shorter, which, you know, this is, I think most people would be like, short? This is short? 45 minutes? What the fuck? They would be right. I would react that way too if I stumbled upon this video online. But I also probably wouldn't have watched it. I wouldn't have gone this far. So, anyways, there we go. That will be all for today. For this morning. Maybe I'll do another one. Hey, don't bite me, bite this. Maybe I'll do more later today. A part 2 or something. But I feel really good about everything I've talked about and allowing myself to process my thoughts and process my emotions. So I'm feeling good. Great start to the day so far. Much better than yesterday. Let's freaking go. I think I'm gonna go do some streaming. Some League of Legends streaming. I've been trying that out. And that's an area where I realized, like, you know, like the first time I did it, I got some people in the chat. I had a really nice conversation with the guy. Ow. Shout out Nicola Brica. But yesterday I tried it again, and I did not get any viewers to really stick around. Oh my gosh, you're freaking crazy, dog. So, what are you doing? What are you doing here? I'm not really getting. What are you doing? Why are you? What are you trying to bite? What are you trying to bite? He's crazy. He's like diving into like trying to get under my pants, like under my butt or something. What are you doing? You're so crazy. Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. I don't know what you're doing, dog. Here, bite this. Whoa. Hey, don't bite me. You bite this, okay? Or you calm down. You can also calm down. Oh no, yeah. I was just gonna say, when it came to like streaming, I realized that I was taking the outcome personally. Like the first time, I really enjoyed that there was someone there. It was amazing. A lot of people joined in, and it was a good time. Yesterday was a really bad time, but I also came into it feeling really bad at the start of the day, and so no one really chatted or stuck around much, and so I felt a little sad. But that's the thing, man. I don't know what the thing is actually. I'm kind of rambling. I'm gonna go stream. I'll make more sense of that later. My allergies are fucking me, so I'm oh. All right. Thanks for listening / watching if you watch / listen. But yeah, leave a comment. Love to hear from you guys. Peace.